No Mario Sky in a Telltale game? It's GNT. Welcome to GNT, your one-stop shop for gaming news and whatever else we want to talk about. I'm Nick.
And I'm Brandon.
Today we're going to start off with a game called No Mario Sky. It was made in 72 hours by a team of 4, and basically it had randomly generated Mario-style worlds that you had to go through. Eventually you got to your ship and you could fly around space to other worlds. It's taken down pretty quickly by Nintendo copyright claim, which they're famous for. Anything made with their stuff without them, they're very strict about. Developer ASMB Games said, "No Mario Sky is no Mario," which that kind of, I lost it right there. I was on their side, but after that, they did make a new game called DMCA Sky, which has similar themes to Mario and is now available for download. I'll put the link in the description, but just kind of a funny little story that shows how serious Nintendo is about their stuff.
Yeah, I think probably there'll be a few things we'll see in the future here that'll ride the coattails of No Man's Sky. Which, I mean, a lot. I didn't read into it as much as other people did, but a lot of people were disappointed in a lot of the things that were supposedly promised and didn't come through. For me, it was fun, but I found myself, I saw a lot of streams where people were just rushing towards the end or rushing towards maxing out certain things, and I myself was content being on one planet that had good resources, and it was just, to what point do you play it? I mean, you know there's a limit as far as the ships, the multi-tool, your backpack, and then obviously getting to the center of the universe.
Yeah.
And without a story to drive it, I didn't think I'd be as hung up on that, or that would hurt its playability with me as much as it did. I really lost interest in it, and not there being no story, I couldn't find the drive to go back and play it again. So it got traded in this week.
Okay. And this kind of, Nintendo's been this way, I know, with YouTube videos like 3 years ago, and then a couple years ago they tried again. The first time they tried to say, any videos that use our games, we get all the money. Normally companies usually don't care if you record with their video games as long as you're doing a commentary over it or something like that. But and there was a pretty big backlash from YouTubers. I think they kind of backed off. Then they tried again last year, 2 years ago, and they said, okay, well, we want 50% of the profits from these videos. And again, people got upset about it. So I'm not sure if they'll continue trying to get that, but I don't know. Nintendo is one of the more serious ones.
Well, I think with them having exclusives like they do, I think they thought maybe this was another way for them to generate revenue.
Yeah.
Since streaming, Twitch, and YouTube gaming is becoming more and more popular, and there is some money to be made there, if you have the right personality and whatnot. But I think that they saw that as an opportunity to get some money, and what company's not going to try to do that,
Yeah. And now, from the YouTubers' viewpoint, it's like, well, I mean, we're playing your games. I mean, we bought them. I mean, we're getting free advertising, basically.
Right.
I mean, I know I've seen games on YouTube or Twitch, thought it looked a lot of fun, went and bought it. So, I mean, you could see both sides to it.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that they should be looking at the free advertising more than anything. I mean, they spend millions of dollars on advertising campaigns, where is if you let people stream your games, they've already bought it, and B, are having people watch it, and they're probably going to go out and buy it more than a commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Watching people enjoy a game's more of a seller than some flashy commercial you'll spend millions of dollars on to get people to buy into something.
Yeah.
Not to say that doesn't work for other companies. I mean, commercials do sell games.
Mm.
That's a proven fact. But it does help Twitch and YouTubers help sell games too. I mean, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what we'll get to it later on in this episode. But I mean, that's what led me to the game I purchased this week.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing with YouTube is it's like, especially if you watch someone consistently, there's kind of a bond there. I mean, you get to know them on a more personal level. So if they say play a game and they really enjoy it, I think you're going to trust that more than a commercial, which is meant to sell it.
Well, if you consistently watch someone, their personality and your personality are alike, so you kind of trust their opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like listening to a friend, or that's kind of what you have there.
Mm.
So, I mean, I think Nintendo's just hurting themselves with this one.
Yeah. And then kind of a cool note, especially you'll be excited about, is Conor McGregor is going to appear in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. There weren't many details, but he is going to be a character in the game, so that should be exciting to see.
I might buy it now. I mean, I like the Call of Duty games. I like Black Ops 3. It was fun. The story was real good. Multiplayer was all right.
Yeah.
But things like this, that if he's in the story, I would probably buy the game and play through the story. I do like the multiplayer, but I'm not hardcore into the multiplayer. So something like this would probably get me to purchase a game if he has a fairly significant role. I mean, if it's just a cameo, I probably won't buy it. But if he's a main story character or some, like I said, not just, hey, I'm Conor McGregor, or
And then he gets shot. And
that's it. That's it. I would be a little disappointed there, but.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it because I was kind of been wanting to play Call of Duty multiplayer again, and I would really like to play the remastering of Modern Warfare, but you have to buy Infinite Warfare, so I don't know. I've kind of been on the fence about that. The Battlefield 1 beta is out. I think it's generally been getting pretty good reviews. I haven't played it myself. I was watching someone who was playing it, and the one map I saw. It looked pretty good. I'm mostly excited about the World War I theme, because I loved Call of Duty 2, which was World War II. But I think generally it's pretty similar. I mean, better graphics and some new features, but generally I think it's been doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think we mentioned before in previous episodes that with Battlefield, it's kind of hard to screw up the recipe.
Yeah.
You're just putting a new coat of paint on the game, making it look pretty. In this instance, they're changing the era of which the game takes place, which is, I mean, you have games going into the future, you have games that were in the present, and you have games that go into the past to a certain extent. Now we're going a little further back into the past. And I think that's good, to mix it up like that, and I think it'll do well. I mean, they always do well. So.
Yeah, they do. And then Lindsay Lohan's famous lawsuit, I don't know if you heard about it. Whenever GTA 5 came out, there was a lawsuit that I guess she thought she was the one girl on the loading screen in the red bikini. And so she was suing them over that. Although, honestly, I never saw the resemblance. But it was finally tossed out of court, which, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer to me. But, I don't know, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, how long did that game come out? It was 3 years?
Yeah.
Or longer?
Yeah.
So it just got tossed out of court.
Well, sometimes it takes a while for those cases to go to court, but it's just unfortunate that a developer like Rockstar had to waste money on something like that. But it hasn't hurt the game. I mean,
No.
we've talked about this before, where they've come out with all this free DLC and still keeping the game, fresh to an extent, and it's 3 years old. I mean, there aren't many game developers. I can't think of many other game developers that'll give you free content, let alone consistent free content, and support a game for longer than 3 years, other than like an MMO or a Diablo style game or something like that. That's just, no other company's stepping up to the plate like that. And it's good to see that Rockstar hasn't let that fame go to their head. That they are still, they made a game. They worried about the fans. They make the extra content there for the fans and support the fans, and that's good to see. It's good to see that.
Yeah, I can't think of any other game that's had as much free content as GTA 5.
Yeah, especially significant content.
Right.
We're not talking. I mean, some of those updates would be an update that other developers would charge $10 to $15 for.
Yep.
And there's been so many that GTA has let out that, you'd have easily another $60 if you were buying the add-ons through another developer. So just for that sheer fact is, really good to see, you know.
I can't remember if it was Oblivion or Skyrim, but I think they had a DLC that was pretty much just horse armor, and it was like $5 or $10.
Yes.
I mean, that's... And then you look at GTA, which had the one, the recent DLC we talked about. I forget what it was called. But it added a lot of content in it. Like you said, it was free.
Yeah, I think whenever that game came out with the horse armor, that was at the dawn of the purchasing DLC and the add-ons and not getting all this content in the games, and it's really almost gotten out of hand. Now, the games themselves, as long as they have a lot of deep content and you can add to that with the DLC, there's not a real issue with that. I mean, you look at games like like The Witcher 3, the DLCs for those are 20, 30 hours long at least, just to get through the main part of that new storyline. And then you have DLC that you pay $15 for and you might not get nearly that much out of, or might not be the same quality of content. So, I mean, there are two sides to that coin, and I see too many developers taking advantage of that and taking advantage of the gamers. And it's sad because at the end of the day, the gamers are looking at just for the same experiences that they got years ago for $60, And here we go back again to Grand Theft Auto. You paid $60 and you've got a game that's still coming out with new content 3 years later.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Now, I know some game developers aren't as well off as Rockstar is financially, because Rockstar did really well with Grand Theft Auto, but developers like Ubisoft, Bethesda, EA, I mean, these are people that should be taking a paper out of Rockstar's playbook on this one, I really think.
Oh, yeah. And stuff like that it really makes your fan base loyal. I bet a large percentage of people who play GTA 5 will definitely play GTA 6 because GTA 5 was so good. They came out with so much content for it. If you come out with a game and, charge for the DLC, which might be iffy, you might lose people if they're upset about that.
Well, you take a look at like your Call of Duty and your Battlefields. They come out every year, and to get the whole game experience, you've got to pay at least $100 or close to $100. You've got to buy the game, and then you've got to buy the season pass for all the expansions. So there you are paying $90, $100 for a game for the full experience, just to have to buy a new game the next year. You're almost getting into the realm of playing like an MMO where you have a subscription fee. To be honest, you're looking at now. The difference with an MMO is if you pay $60 the first year, you don't have to pay that again, but you do have to pay the monthly fee and then the expansions if there are any. But I think it's just getting a little out of hand with the high cost of the DLC.
And if you want to play a remastered edition of an old game, you have to buy the new one, which nobody wants. Well, I shouldn't say that, but
yeah.
Anyway. Telltale is coming out with the season 3 of The Walking Dead, which I think a lot of people will be excited about. It comes out this November. It's subtitled New Frontier. It's going to continue Clementine in her story. So I think that might be their most popular game, or one of the most popular ones. So
yeah, they do a good job with their games. They've really created their own niche in the gaming market.
Yeah.
And it's good to see, game developer be able to do that. Because like we've said before about starting new titles or starting, not making a sequel or anything. Now this isn't necessarily a sequel; it is a continuation of a story. So,
Right.
but it's good to see that they've made a name for themselves and they can really do good things with, with different franchises. I mean, they had Game of Thrones series, I believe. They have the Batman series that came out.
Yep.
They had a Borderlands series that came out. So it's good to see that they can carry that game style over to different franchises.
And that they can change it up by using the episodes, which you might like or not like, and be successful. That they can put different styles of games out there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then a game that we both got, he got first and then he got me to buy, was Attack on Titan this week. And if you're a fan of this show, I strongly recommend that you get this game.
Even if you aren't a fan of the show, I know you only saw a few episodes, but you liked the concept.
Yeah.
The game plays very well. It has its own art style that's very similar to the anime. It does offer a lot of, I'm not going to say depth because it's not real deep, but there is some customization to your characters,
right.
and there's a lot of replayability. And it's just, it's fun. It's easy to pick up. The controls are not too hard to learn, and while you're playing it, you feel like a total badass.
Oh, yeah. Like you said, it's not hard to learn, but at first it kind of seemed a little complicated to me, but I picked it up pretty quickly. And like you said, you do feel, you're swinging around, taking on these titans that you feel awesome.
It almost reminds me a little bit to the first Prince of Persia Sands of Time that they released on the PlayStation, where you had one attack button, but you used the directional stick to aim your attack.
Okay.
And it just seemed so fluid that your attacks you were landing and stuff, and it was just a real fluid way of combat. And it kind of reminds me of that, and a little bit of just, you look good doing combat. It just doesn't, you look at like a fighter like Mortal Kombat or something. There are combos and stuff that make it look fluid, but you're like punch, and you could tell you're inputting buttons on the thing. Whereas this, it seems like just everything has a flow to it, but you're controlling it.
Yep.
And you really feel, cool because it flows so effortlessly, and you're able to do a lot of neat things. And like I said, feel like a badass.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know how many chapters are in it?
I do not.
I've got to the end of the first chapter, and it was probably, how long do you think it took? An hour, 2 hours?
Probably.
Maybe even 3. But so it seems like it's a decent length game.
I don't know how much time I've got into it. Probably 10 hours or so, maybe. And I know I looked at something and it said I was about 15 or 16% complete.
Oh, okay.
Either in the story, but that's not including the extra content and the multiplayer aspect of it.
No, I haven't even done the multiplayer at all yet.
Yeah, so neither have I. But that's another thing where there's a multiplayer aspect to it where you can play with your friends, and then playing with your friends in that, I think it just opens the realm of possibilities
Right.
For even more fun. So,
Absolutely a good game. All right, thanks for watching. Leave a comment with your thoughts. Have you gotten Attack on Titan? What do you think? And subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
ow, you're hurting me! Ow! Quit pulling my hair!
I don't know.
Here, I'm standing against this post.
Yeah. Never mind.
This game is so